A devotee asked Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi, is it useful to bring East and West closer? Bhagwan said such events will take place automatically. There is a power guiding the destinies of nations. These questions arise only when you have lost touch with reality. Devotee asked how to reconcile realization with wage earning activities. Bhagwan said actions are no cause of bondage. Bondage is only the false notion that I am acting. Leave off such thoughts, but let the body and senses play their role unimpeded by your interference. Devotee is work and obstruction. Bhagwan said no. For the realized man, there is no sense of being an agent. Even for an aspirant, he may practice self inquiry. While engaged in work, it may be difficult for a beginner, but after some practice, it will be effective and the work will not be a hindrance to meditation. Devotee asked how will transactions go on if one maintains mental silence. Bhagwan said when women walk with water pots on their heads and keep chatting with their companions, they are very careful of the lords of the heads. Similarly, when a jnani engages in activities, they do not defile him because his mind abides in Brahman. Devotee as we are men living in the world and have one kind of grief or another. We pray for help and still are not satisfied what to do. Bhagwan said, trust God. If you surrender, you must be able to abide by His will and not make grievance of what may not please you. Things may turn out different from what they are in appearance. Distress often leads man to faith in God. Devotee asked, I am a sinful man. Bhagwan said, why think of yourself so? You have rightly thrown all responsibilities on God, in whom you have faith, and He will look after that. Have compassionate love for others, but keep it secret. Don't show it and talk of it. If desires are fulfilled, don't be elated. If frustrated, don't be disappointed. The elation may be deceptive, it should be checked, for initial joy may end in final grief. After all, whatever happens, you are unaffected, still as you were. Devotee asked, but how can I help another with his problem, his troubles? Bhagwan said, what is the talk of another? There is only the one. Try to realize there is no I, no you, no he, only the one self, which is all. If you believe in the problem of another, you are believing in something outside the self. You will help him best by realizing the oneness of everything rather than by outward activity. The ego pertains to all the waking activities. The consciousness, the intellect, in deep sleep, where is the I? The intellect is still, the body is still, and yet the self is there. It is the waking activities that veil the real self by making ego. The false self appears as the real self. Everything in this universe is run by one supreme power, but if a man will not keep to the destined path appointed for him, but strays beyond its limits, then God punishes him, and through that suffering he turns towards the self. But when the punishment goes, he ceases to worship and again sins, thereby inviting an increased punishment. When he gets excited for anxious, he may know that he is not on the destined path but is straying, for on the appointed path he will be peaceful and content. He should abide in the self and not seek to stray into desires, ambitions, etc. Beyond that, God gives him, but be egoless. Whose free will is it? You believe it is yours. You are beyond will and fate. Abide as that, and you transcend them both. That is the meaning of conquering destiny by will. Fate can be conquered. Fate is the result of karma, but by satsanga, the bad vasanas are conquered. His experiences are viewed in proper perspective. I am now enjoyer of karma's fruit. I was in the past and shall be in the future. Who is this I? Finding this I to be pure consciousness beyond karma and enjoyment, freedom and happiness are gained. There is then no effort, for the self is perfect and there is nothing to gain. So long as there is individuality, one is enjoyer and doer. But if it is lost, the divine will act and guide the course of events. Restrictions and discipline are for jivas and not for the muktas. Free will is implied in the scriptural injunctions to be good. It implies overcoming fate. It is done by jnana. As the fire which is kindled reduces all fuel to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge reduce all works to ashes. When anything happens, we are prone to attribute the same to something or someone else. However, the fact is that our experiences have already been created by ourselves, and nothing happens which is more or less than what we deserve. What can others do to us? Others are not responsible for what happens to us. They are only instruments for what would happen to us some way or other. Let us be strong in faith and not succumb to fear. Whatever happens, happens according to our prarabdha. Let it exhaust itself. Evil intentions and evil actions will react themselves and not affect us simply because they desire it. One is required not to think of oneself, so why there be anxiety regarding others? Hari Om Tat Sat.